Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk about the good thing about student loans not being forgiven. And I know a lot of people are probably already saying, what do you mean? What is good about student loans not being forgiven? And my answer to that is everything. Here's why. We had just started speaking about what it would look like if people stopped going to college. Now, I went to college for 4 good years of my life. And I will tell you right now, if I had not gone, life would have still been amazing. In fact, I would have had tens of thousands of more dollars to my name. However, I don't believe that I would have been on the same path that I've been on, or the same journey that I've been on, or maybe even have this life that I'm living now, or even be in this state. So, I do believe that college was good for me. The reason why I say that is because my first job ever was Domino's. And I denied becoming a manager at Domino's because I was in college. So had I not been in college, I would have already been a manager at Domino's in New York. Now, since I denied it, I went to upstate New York and became a manager there by force. I had no choice. They forced me to become a manager after being a security guard for a few months. So, with that on my resume, plus graduating college, Amazon offered me a job as an area manager. I was a manager at Blaze Pizza while I was waiting to become a manager at Amazon. And that's when I started to have a salary job. I made $50,000 a year plus bonus. And over time, I started to save money, even though I was living in a nice 2-bedroom apartment and I just had my first car, which wasn't paid off at the time. So with all of that being said, I had some expenses, but I was also able to save, especially during a pandemic where there was stimulus and a whole bunch of other things that resulted in me saving money and allowed me to rack up enough cash to where I could go ahead and buy my first home. Because I was working at Amazon, and I got that job because I had a 4-year degree, so I didn't have to climb up the ranks. I was then able to become a general manager of a restaurant. I worked at Tim Hortons as a general manager. I actually made more money than I made at Amazon working in the restaurant industry. I did not have the bonuses, and I did not have the time off that I used to have, but now I had more cash. I did not like Tim Hortons. I decided to go into the Army. During a pandemic like COVID, again, a series of events took place that led to me wanting to join the Army. I decided that since I have a bachelor's in biology, I might as well do something with that degree. So I went to the Army for nursing as a licensed practical nurse. Because of that, I was able to save more money after selling my vehicle. And because of that, when I left the Army, I was able to purchase another home, just freshly coming out of the pandemic. Interest rates were just now starting to rise, and I was able to catch a home under 3% once again. So again, two situations in where I was able to save a tremendous amount of money quickly allowed me to purchase my second property. So, you might be wondering, okay, where does college come into play? Well, while I was in college, while I was working these jobs, while I was struggling to pay all my bills, including pay for college, I I beefed up my resume by being a manager, which then allowed me to get the jobs at Amazon, which then allowed me to get the jobs in the restaurant industry, which allowed me to get all these salary positions, which allowed me to buy these properties. Had I not worked for them, I would have been a manager at Domino's, maybe a general manager at some point, and then of course the same thing would apply, except actually, yeah, the same things would have applied because instead of paying into college for 4 years, I would have just been saving money for 4 to 5 to 6 years when I purchased my first property. And then I could have still went into the Army, all that things, but that's hypotheticals, right? Who's to know that I would have been a general manager in 4 or 5 years? Who's to know that? So with that being said, I do believe college was good for me because one, I got more pay in the Army, and it gave me an opportunity at Amazon, and it's also useful now at my current job because if I ever wanted to go more deeper into healthcare, it's nothing for me to become a nurse. It's gonna take me less than 2 semesters. So the reason why I say um, student loans should not be forgiven is because a lot of people don't study the right stuff in college. And granted, I don't believe I studied the right stuff in college. Unless I want to become a doctor, there was no reason for me to study biology. Right? I could have studied computer science, I could have studied nursing, anything outside of biology at this point, right? But I do see a lot of people who go to school for business, dance, art, music, history. All of that will do absolutely nothing for you financially. Psychology is a big one for females. You have to get your master's in psychology just to make $60,000 to $70,000 a year. So you go to school for 7 years, you get about $100,000 in debt to make $60,000 fresh out, which you can literally make almost anywhere. Now, a lot of people are like, what do you mean literally almost anywhere? A lot of my viewers are from New York City. If you don't make $60,000 a year, you can't live on your own. I don't believe you can live on your own and you don't make at least $60,000 a year. And you would still be struggling. Tell me if I'm lying. Now, in Columbus, Ohio, $60,000 a year, you can live a decent life. But you don't need to go to college for 7 years in order to make that type of money. So a lot of people are realizing I can learn a trade. I can, get a certification. I can do something else with my time and my resources. I'm not going to force my children to go this route. I'm going to expand their options. I'm going to give them different avenues, different resources that they can use in order to understand that college might not be for you, but this might, or this might, or that might. The 4-year degree is becoming less and less talked about. And some corporations, especially the big corporations, they'll talk about a master's or this and that. There's not a lot of jobs that require that. Let's be honest. There's not a lot of jobs that require you to have a master's degree in this walk of life anymore. So with the college degree being less and less valuable and more expensive, I do believe that there are going to be an exodus of people who no longer opt in to what it means to go to college. In the last pandemic in 2008, everybody was going to college to get new degrees, new certifications, a new set of skills. They wanted the government to finance their life, and they wanted to walk out of this pandemic with a full head of steam and with new skills to conquer the world. And to some, they may have thought that was smart. Hey, I don't have to deal with this economy. Let me go back to school and take on this debt, but at least I'll get something out of it in the future that will give me a skill set that will allow me to weather any recession, even if it remains ongoing. But now what? Still in debt. Everybody was studying the same stuff. You got less pay. The job market was saturated. And now what? You're still holding the bag. And because you got an education, you hold it in such high regard that 4 years of your life was given away for something that gave you little to no value and a lot of financial headache. I paid off my student loans, but I'm not going to make it about me. And why do I even say student loans? I wasn't given any loan. I paid off my debts as soon as I had my debts. So I worked very diligently in order to make sure that that was paid before it even came time to pay it. And because of that, I truly can't understand student loans being forgiven for anyone, to be honest, just off the strength that I had to work hard to do it myself. Now, granted, if you've been paying your loans for about 15 to 20 years, I can agree with your student loans being rid of. I don't believe that somebody should carry that for their whole life, especially if it was a mistake that you made at 18 years old. I understand that people don't make the smartest decisions at 18, but if and only if you've been paying it since about 15 or 20 years, then yes, I do believe that it should be forgiven. Nobody should have that long, right? Now again, that's just my opinion. The government may think different. You may think different. You might say if they took out a loan on anything, regardless if they're 18, they're old enough to go to war, they're old enough to take out a loan, they should be able to pay off their debts. You might have that mindset. Cool. I know people who are 70 still with student loans, still paying the minimum payment. Hey, and their minimum payment might not even catch up to what I had to pay out of pocket. I paid roughly, let's say, $24,000 just for the college itself, not including living by myself, not including buying my own groceries, not including all that other stuff that comes with being an adult at 20, 21. Like, that's what I had to do. And that's just because I was scared of that. I had no other reason but because I was scared of that. And that was another reason why I didn't pursue medical school after getting my 4-year degree, is because I couldn't see myself taking on about $200,000 in loans. And because of that, I opted out of the cycle of the educational system. We all have that decision to make. I made that decision for myself. Sometimes I think about it. What if I had become a doctor? And then on the flip side, I also say I would not have nearly what I have today. Nor would I have been able to buy it when I became a doctor. These 2 properties will be worth about $500,000 by the time I graduate medical school and would have been out of residency. $500,000 easy. And the interest rate would not be under 3%. So I would have had to be paying maybe about $4,000 a month just for the properties, instead of less than $2,500 a month for the 2 properties. And that's with adding additional principal. So again, we make our decisions, we live with those decisions, and we also have to understand that, we're going to make some bad decisions, but we'll also make some good ones in the process. And a good decision might be telling your kids, hey, there's a different option for you because this wasn't for me. Maybe you'll find something that's a little bit better than just going to college. Now, I'm not saying college is a bad thing, but we need to understand why we're going to college, not just for the 4-year degree, but what are we going to get in return for this investment? A lot of people are like, oh, I won't invest in the stock market, or I won't invest in real estate, it's too risky, we'll lose money. Well, you can go to college and lose your whole life to debt, bad debt. So we need to understand and we need to figure out, what are we going to college for? What are we studying? What are we going to learn that is going to allow us to be successful out here in the world? If you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day at 8 a.m. daily on YouTube and Rumble, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.